Alright, it should be live. So, around where? Let's select the 50 because this was filmed when? Um, Wait, further down. Just bear with me for a moment because I want to show you when I started reading what I wrote down with the details. Okay. No, further down. No, where are they? I didn't delete them. Should be here. I did not delete that. This. Oh, no. This one. Okay. So over here, I set them to the private section because these were part of the bait. So to let the gypsies gather again and accuse me of all the things the same way I placed in the private section when I published the emails I sent to the police uh, starting 2024. Okay, so over here in these two, so this one is 52 minutes, this one is 9 minutes. I wrote down on some papers what I've been through, how I escaped from the fake psychiatric hospital in Milheim, right? Um, so I found the route. No, so in these two, but they're in the private section. I explain how the Muslims here and certain authorities are involved in this. Okay. Now tonight I searched for the hospital and I found it. It moved over here. Okay. And I wrote this is where they took me from the highway from Germany. Okay. And soon enough I'm gonna make another one. But right now I'm trying to make a live stream to get this out as soon as possible. Okay. So this is where the two gypsies driving the ambulance took me. Okay. Parked here, took me to the basement over here somewhere. Because as I said, underneath one of these cars, there's a sewer canal drain, like the you can see the holes from the drain. Okay, and they took me on this room, and the sewer drain was like in the center of the ceiling. And if you then from here, when I as soon as I escaped and I exited the building, I went to the Aral. There are two Arals at least near this location. So I found the one I ran towards. I ran this much from here to here. It seems. And I mentioned, like in the declaration, I mentioned that um, I the hospital was near, like surrounded by green field, because I ran a lot and I ran through some greenery that was near the hospital. Now, if you place oral petrol at destinations over here from this hospital, okay, which is not the psychiatric hospital. If you search again for psychiatric Milheim, which I did over here when it found this hospital earlier, over here in this search, it doesn't retrieve the same hospital. It retrieves this hospital with a different address, with this address. This is a different address. This is not the same hospital as this one over here. These are different, and I wrote the same thing over here and over here. So the gypsies are trying to cover up their organ trafficking operation. Okay, and it's this location over here. Okay, where the gypsies driving the ambulance like the Indians, because they were black Indians. You know what I'm saying? They were like semi-white gypsies. They were black gypsies. You know what I'm saying? So this is where those two gypsies driving the ambulance took me. And if you search to find this location, I wrote this psychiatric Milheim, and it found me this eventually. At a secondary search in this tab, it didn't find it. Found only these locations. Okay, this one is called, has a similar name. If you click on it, the address over here is different. Okay, takes you to a different location. And this is the end of the list. And over here it says you've reached the end of the list. Okay, you can see this. This is live. All right, this is not pre-recorded. We are live on YouTube right now. Okay, this is, I should change the thumbnail to be honest. Um, I will. Okay, so now explaining how I got to, as I was saying, they're hiding the real location of where those two gypsies took me. Okay, so this is where uh, the human slaughtering, the maybe some of the cannibalism, and the organ removal from the victim takes place. This is where the basement I escaped from is. Okay, so as soon as I exited the building, I didn't go this way, as the blue line indicates the that Oral Patrol is. It is like in that direction, all right. But in the statement I made, I said the hospital is surrounded by greenery, because as soon as I exited, I ran this way on Adolfstrasse. This is a small street. You got cars parked here. You cannot see it clearly because of the trees. Okay, so let's go to street view. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of greenery. You got a field here. So I came up like this through the door, field, field, right, ran, 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 ran. Over here, I took a left, kept running. Okay, and over here, you run into this park. So this is why I kept mentioning greenery and had the impression the hospital is near a green field, because over here, like, you got this park. Okay, so I ran a bit through this park because the gypsies were chasing me with their cars. uh, and I think they didn't do it just with the ambulance. I mean, I didn't hear like ambulance sirens, shit like that, chasing me. They were chasing me with pedestrian car, like, with the civilian cars. Sorry. So from this park, I went this way. You see, because I didn't go this way. I ran like this and took a left over here, but ran through the park. Okay. So I kept running, 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 and eventually when I reached this street over here at this intersection, I kept going right and left, right and left, because they were looking for me, doing like all this shit with their cars, doing all these turns, twists and turns. And at some point I reached the petrol station. Okay, over here. And they kept coming from this side and from this side, trying to park over here, trying to grab me. I tried to stay in the video camera sight, so they didn't take me uh, from the petrol station. You know, I tried to stay near. You got a few cameras over here, over here. Okay, I asked the gypsy. There was a gypsy at the counter selling, you know, in the petrol station. Um, like a woman gypsy, and I asked for her phone to call, and I called in Romania from this petrol station. Okay, while I did this, cars were coming this way, kept kept planning on how to take me by force. Okay, at some point, I kept looking at them, which ones were like not involved, because you can get like a vibration. You can feel, I don't know, you can feel their electromagnetic field they're generating, not necessarily from the car, but when they get out of the car, you can see whether or not they're involved or not. So over here, I paid a guy to convinced one of them to take me to the nearest hotel, and for some fucking reason, I didn't know he was a Muslim. You know, I mean, I got the point to the point where I realized he was a Muslim. He stopped in a few weird places, uh, and I was like looking. So he drove away from those weird places, and eventually I woke up in Rotterdam. I paid him 60 euros over here. But I didn't know, like, he was alone in the car and he was afraid to take me in a certain location. You could see, because he was a bit older. He was, I don't know, about 50 years old, and he could tell that I could kick his ass. So that's one of the reasons I could see him at some point stopping and texting on his phone, and getting a strange vibe from him. And at some point, at that point, I looked at him weird, and he kept on driving. The thing is, he took me from here to Rotterdam. And that's why I got super surprised. I ended up from Mulheim to Rotterdam in a pretty short amount of time. Okay. Um, so yeah, the rest of the trip from here to Romania was also an adventure. But this is how I got to this Aral petrol station. Uh, After I got to Rotterdam, over there was a different part of the adventure. I mean, adventure, like, of the mission. Let's call it, because it's not like I wanted to. Let's go on an adventure. I was asked for help to expose this shit. Okay. So this I didn't take that route when I exited that fucking building. Okay, I ran just the way I showed you, like this way, and then I took a left, ran through this park. So this is why in my statement I mentioned there's a green field nearby. Okay, and then I reached the Aral petrol station. Okay, yeah, and it's strange, don't you think, that when I wrote this psychiatric Mulheim, it found me this St. Marian Hospital Mulheim on der Ruhr, Germany, which is this, where those two gypsies driving the ambulance took me. But when I wrote the same shit again over here, it says over here, you've reached the end of your list, and this is the closest thing that resembles that name, and it has a different address. It doesn't have this location on it. Okay, which is super strange. You see the address over here? You see the address over here? This is Mühlenkamp 9, This one is Kaiserstrasse 50. Kaiserstrasse 50. 45468. Okay? So the gypsies didn't take me here. They took me here. Alright, that's it for now. I'm gonna make also a regular video. This is gonna go probably in the live stream section, if you are gonna get to see the live stream section. You know what I'm saying? Because who knows which ones appear over here. If you click live, you don't know if you're gonna see this over here or not. Okay. And also, yeah, and I also intend to make a regular video to post it over here to show like the difference from between this one, and the route I escaped on. okay, to reach the Aral petrol station. The rest has already been said in the video I showed you in the playlist earlier, like in the YouTube studio. But that video is in the private section right now. Okay. Um, I want to see, like, police should know what I say in that video. If they don't, that's super bad for them. I'm disappointed, and yeah, it means that the case is still being covered up because, as I said, you're reaching cannibals in the European Parliament. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's it for now. Stay blessed, stay vigilant. Hallelujah.